In the last 12 months, I've been working behind the scenes with health and fitness coaches to grow their business online. During that time, we have generated over $700,000 in revenue, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire roadmap that I'm using to take people to 5, 6, and even 7 figures per year selling fitness coaching programs. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Kieran and I'm the founder of Fit Pro Consultant. And we basically help fitness coaches scale their business online. And yeah, my goal on YouTube is just to give you as many raw insights and be as transparent as possible about what it actually takes to grow a fitness business online. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time and let's just get straight into it. So just so you know, I'm not talking out my ass. Here's a couple results. So Maria got her to 8K in 2 months. Marcus started from scratch, got him to over 10K in 25 days. Trevor, 73K in 3 months. Kirill, 4K in 2 months in Costa Rica as well. Cody got him to over 10K in 4 months, again, starting from scratch. Callum, he's one of my newest clients. Again, very, very small audience. Only had like sort of Facebook friends to use and things, but we were able to get him 5 paying clients in just 14 days from scratch. He'd never PT'd anyone or coached anyone before. So yeah, this system really does work. And in this video, I'm just going to go through it all step by step. You know, I'm not like all the other sort of business gurus in this space who just give you the most surface level information with like clickbait titles. No, I'm actually going to go into everything in as much detail as I possibly can. So yeah, don't want to waste any more of your time. Just use this if I need to draw any little diagrams. But basically, right, you need to look at the operation at a high level first, right? So let's just say that you want to do 100K in a year. That would be a 6-figure business. That's about 8.5K per month, right? So I don't know where you're at now, but obviously you need to fill in the gap between where you are now and 100K in a year. So what does that look like? So a lot of fitness coaches or fitness influencers, they're focusing on the wrong things, to be honest. So you're no longer optimizing for vanity. So what I mean by that is followers, likes, shares, all this sort of stuff. Obviously it does play a part, but it's not really what you should be focusing on anymore. If you really want to grow a business on social media, these aren't the important things. So what are the important things? Well, obviously, how many clients, right? How many calls you're booking, and how many new conversations. Everything that you do on social media should revolve around these sort of metrics. So if what you're doing isn't closing clients, right? Let's say you've been posting like 100 times and you've posted 100 times and you've just closed no clients. Well, obviously there's a big problem there. So you need to change what you're doing. If you're not closing any calls, if you're not generating any calls, sorry, and then if you're not generating any new conversations. So obviously booked calls, but then also deals that you close as well. So obviously there's a rate between these. How many new conversations you're starting, how many of those are turning into calls, and then how many of those calls are turning into clients, aka your close rate. So if you want to hit 100K in a year, then you need to know what these things need to be. So, I mean, if you were selling like a 2K package, for example, which, is very normal. I still see, even in 2024, people are still charging like £100, £100, $200, whatever, per month, which is crazy to me. You should be optimizing your sales process. Like on the call, you should be figuring out what the client needs. And if their goal is going to take 4 months, for example, then you should be optimizing for collecting as much of that 4 months upfront as possible. Not only is it more safe for you as the business owner because you're collecting more upfront cash, right? You're not placing any bets on their personal circumstances or their discipline. But they're also going to be more emotionally invested as well. So if you're selling a 2K package, then, you know, we can break that down. You have to be hitting, let's just say 10K a month, right? So 2K package, you need to be getting 5 clients. A normal close rate, right, is probably, when you're selling high ticket, it's probably around 30%, between 30 and 40%. However, I've got clients who are closing 3K packages at 65%. So, you know, it really just does come down to, you know, how much experience you've got in sales as well, and how good you are at sales. But, you know, that's something that you're obviously going to improve over time. So for that to be true, you know, so 30%, you need to be doing about, I'd say, a good 20 calls, right? If you're closing 5 clients per month, then you probably need about 20 calls. So that's, you know, 5 per week, 5 calls per week. So how many new conversations is that going to be? Well, every new follower you get is a potential lead, right? Still, a lot of coaches don't view followers this way. Like, there's a bit of a disconnect. You know, people just kind of see it as a number. They don't see it as like this group of people who they can monetize. However, you know, if you're proactive about it, which I will obviously go into, you're always going to be casting a wide net over these people who follow you, and making sure that no one slips through the cracks. But if you just have in mind that you need to generate 5 calls per week, right, that obviously breaks this number down a lot bigger, right? It makes it seem more achievable. And to generate 5 calls, you probably need around 20 to 30 qualified leads for that to happen. So, and everyone who follows you, right, if your content, this is the thing with content, right? If you're too broad and you're not actually serving a niche, you know, this is going to be a lot more watered down, and you're going to be attracting like a lot of people who aren't actually a good fit for your service. And this is what I kind of mean by like not focusing on vanity metrics, because yeah, you might have like 100K followers, but, well, for one, a lot of those aren't even going to be qualified for your service. And it's actually more of a headache, because now how are you going to filter through those 100K people, right? You're going to need an appointment setter. Like it actually just makes it more difficult for yourself. Whereas if you actually just honed in on the kind of person who you actually wanted to attract, and then the percentage of people following you was much more, right, likely to be one of these people, then it's going to make your job much easier, you know, reaching out to these people, doing little promotions on your story and stuff. It's just a lot more concentrated, and you're going to have much more of a loyal fan base, as opposed to just chasing numbers like follows and views and stuff. And it's just actually going to make it a lot harder for yourself. So you need to be having about 20 to 30 new conversations per week with people who are qualified. So let's just say, you know, 50 new followers per week. Okay, 50 new followers per week. That's what you kind of need to aim for, I feel, if you want to hit this 100K per year or 10K per month, right? But this is only going to happen if you're selling a high ticket program. If you're selling a low ticket program, you need a lot more traffic to make the same amount of money. This is why I always recommend people start with a high ticket package, right? You just package up the most value that you can possibly give to a certain kind of person, and then you sell that. You just go all in on that one thing. I always recommend that. When it comes to low ticket, like, yeah, it has a time and a place, but it's not for most people who are probably going to be watching this video. It's more like a filtration offer, right? if you've got a shit ton of people following you, like 100k, 200k, it's just a way of like processing those people, getting those people deeper into your ecosystem where you can then sell them onto your high ticket program. If you're only doing low ticket, you're simply just not going to make that much money. That's the kind of truth. Obviously, common sense does come into play here as well. Like if you are someone like my client Callum, who only has 60 followers on his Instagram, obviously you are going to want a degree of sort of content that's likely to get more views, right, and more followers and things, just because you're kind of stuck in the mud a little bit when you're at that stage. It does take a little bit of it does take a little while to sort of get your followers up, and that in itself is social proof, right? So you kind of want to get out of that stage as quickly as possible, get yourself a few hundred followers. So getting followers at that stage obviously is more of a priority. However, when you've got a few thousand followers, you really want to be more optimized towards the business metrics that you're trying to achieve. So that's it. Kind of broke down, right? You just need 5 calls a week, right? If you're closing at around 30%, you will be able to make that 10k per month, right? And just making sure that you're trying to start as many new conversations as possible, because that's all it really comes down to, really, is talking to people. Obviously posting content because it attracts the people, but then you have to be proactive and actually talk to them, right? Which a lot of people don't do. They just post and pray, right? They just post content and hope people are going to land in their DMs. But in 2024, that's just not the case. That's not going to happen. So basically, you can guarantee your success 100% by nailing these 2 functions that I'm about to go through. Right? Two things, that's all. The vehicle, right? That's the business model. That's the direction you're going in, right? Obviously, you need to be in the right vehicle. Being in the right vehicle is much more important than hard work, because let's say you as a person, like you're completely dialed in, right? You have no issues at all working your ass off 8, 9, 10, up to 12 hours per day. You're just an absolute unit. You're just going for it. But if you're focusing on the wrong things, then your progress is going to suffer massively. However, you being that guy who's able to focus and put in the work and being in the right vehicle as well. What the hell is that? Yo, bro. There we go. Still not perfect. But if you're in the right vehicle as well, and you're the kind of person who is, willing to put in the work, then that's going to make your job getting from 0 to 100 much easier, because obviously you've got the vehicle, right? Why do I keep fucking up the vehicle? There we go. So you've got the vehicle, right, which is going to take you there, and then you as the driver is going to drive that vehicle. So within the vehicle, you're going to have all these moving parts, right? Like the offer, the traffic source, the content strategy, the sales process, right? The client fulfillment side of things, how you're producing results. All these little nuances that are taking you from 100 to 100k in a year as a personal trainer online, right? That's all well and good. Like, it's not difficult to acquire that information. However, you just need to be the kind of person who's actually going to be able to drive that vehicle from where you are now to where you want to be. So obviously, like I said, the vehicle, that's like your niche. So if you're in a shit niche, obviously that's going to be a problem. That's going to hold you back a little bit. Then you've got your offer, right? Then you've got the traffic source. Then you've got your strategy, okay, whether it's organic, paid ads, whatever it may be. Strategy is basically how you're actually just generating that traffic and actually building an audience. Then you're going to have like your appointment setting process. Then you're going to have your sales skip process, right? And then obviously your client delivery systems, which is how you're actually going to get results, which is going to how you're going to get that snowball effect going, right? So that's the vehicle, right? And then on the other side of things, you've got the driver. So what does that look like? Well, that's just made up of your beliefs, your skills, and your characteristics / behaviors. So which is more important? Well, it's you, obviously. The driver is much more important, because there's so many people in the world running really weird niche business models, or things that just don't really work that well, but just because of their beliefs, their skills, their ability to just fucking take action, right? They're the ones who are making it. So you need to become, it's not, when it comes to goals, right? A goal is just words. However, it's people that achieve goals. So instead of just you setting this goal all the time, you need to kind of rewire your brain and think, well, actually, no, how do I actually just become the person who is capable of achieving that goal? That's really what it comes down to. You need to adopt the mindset, the beliefs, the standards on a daily basis of the kind of person who's actually going to achieve that goal of 100K in a year as an online fitness coach. And it all kind of comes down to when you know the vehicle, right? Who you're targeting, when you've got a good offer, when you've got a traffic source that you know is proven, works, and you've got a good content strategy based on, what the market actually wants from you. You've got your appointment setting dialed, you've got your sales process dialed, then it all comes down to you. Your beliefs, how you grew up, what your parents thought about money, what you got taught in school, what kind of friends you hang around with, and what their opinions on things. All this stuff could really hold you back. Because if you don't have your beliefs in check, then your brain is just going to convince you that it's not even worth doing. If you don't even believe that this is possible, then your brain is just going to protect you, basically, and not actually allow you to go through the pain and suffering, and actually put in the work to actually be able to get there. Skills as well. So I'll just give you an example with fitness coaches. They're notoriously bad for not having any sales skills, right? Which is weird, because it's a service-based business model, right? It's a service-based business model. You are actively, bringing on clients. So you need to have sales skills, or else your close rate is going to be like shit, and you're not going to be making nearly as much money as you could have been, or charging as much as you could be. I think a limiting belief a lot of fitness coaches have is, because they don't have any sales skills, then they have these limiting beliefs about what price they're able to charge, instead of just thinking, well, actually, if I actually improve my sales skills, because that's the number one skill I need to have as a service-based business owner. Most millionaires and billionaires are good at sales, right? Because that's really what it comes down to. That's the thing that's actually getting someone to pay you money. However, personal trainers and fitness coaches, they tend to not really have any sales skills or do any sort of training or invest in anything that gives them those skills. So that's one thing, right? You need to be good at making content, obviously. Like, you're kind of like a glorified content creator. You need to be good at appointment setting. You need to be good at sales. The coaching element of it is just one part. The coaching element is probably like one of 6 skills that you need to have when it comes to running a successful business online in this niche. And then when you've got the beliefs and skills, then it's just a case of, well, your characteristics and behaviors. Like, if you're the kind of person who isn't disciplined and who isn't actually able to focus, then you're not actually going to be able to use those skills and actually keep this vehicle moving. Because it's your daily actions and habits that's actually fueling this vehicle. If you just let yourself fizzle out, then this vehicle is just going to come to a stop. So all of these things is what makes the driver, okay, which is you. And then you basically just need to run this. And this is extremely easy to get. If you're anything like me, I just invested in a couple mentorships and got everything that I needed. So now it's just a case of, well, if I take 100% accountability for like where I am in my career, then it all just comes down to me, right? I know this niche is profitable. I know my offer is good. I know where to find the traffic, right? I know what to say when I get them into a conversation, and I know how to run a sales call, and I know how to get results. Okay, so that's covered. I've got the vehicle that can take me to wherever I want to go. Now it's just a case of developing these. So that's really the way I look at it in like first principles. Like, that's how simple it is. Because a lot of people don't like to admit this. They'll have every excuse under the sun and blame everything else for them not being where they are in their journey, right? Or they'll get shiny object syndrome. So instead of just committing to one vehicle, right, this changes all the time. They change this every couple months. They are wasting money on ads. They're not uploading consistently. And they're just getting confused because they're listening to loads of different sort of gurus and mentors online, right? They're taking little bits of information from different people, and then they're trying to apply it like it's one system, but it's not one system. If you really want your vehicle to be nailed, you need to pick one person to learn from, in my opinion. And you need to either watch all their YouTube content, right? So you can sort of like piece everything together, or just simply invest in their mentorship and use their system that you know has proven results, right? Because obviously you're following them if they have proven results, or you probably wouldn't be following them. And from there, then all you need to do is, you've got clarity from that point, knowing that this shit works. Then all you need to do is worry about yourself. So I just thought it was really important to cover this, so you actually have that perspective that it will definitely work. You just have to be willing to get the right vehicle, whatever means necessary. Just get the vehicle in front of you, whether you have to pay money or whatever. Then you know that the vehicle's sorted. Then you just have to worry about yourself. How can you shift your mindset to the kind of person that's willing to make 10K a month? How can you then look at the parts of the vehicle and actually acquire the skills you need to make sure that, you know, you're generating enough conversion events, right? When you actually get people into your DMs, are you actually getting them onto calls? Is your appointment setting process good? And if you buy the vehicle, they'll give you all this. So, right, they'll give you the training and the tools needed to make sure that your close rate is good. You're able to get people onto calls, all this sort of stuff. And then it's more just a case of repetition. Like, are you actually doing it enough and being consistent enough to make it happen? And that's kind of the characteristics and behaviors part of it. So I just wanted to kind of cover that quickly, just to make sure that you are aware of what's actually necessary to make this work. And action steps. So yeah, so just understanding what A to B looks like. Like, you've got your goal, where are you now, and what actually that looks like, what pieces of the vehicle you need to either implement or improve. Take full accountability of your situation and aim to become the person worthy of reaching the goal that you want. Don't just think about the goal, because the goal is nothing. It's you that's going to reach the goal. So you need to actually try and change your identity into someone who's actually going to achieve that goal. Obviously watch this video in full so that you understand the vehicle. And after watching this, basically the only thing in your own way is yourself. So that's one thing to kind of take on the chin. But, you know, I believe in you and I'm here to help. So if you do want more help, then feel free to book a call in the description. So yeah, next step, right? How to perform brain surgery on yourself so that failing during this journey is impossible. So it all comes down to these things, really. The vision. So here's some just questions to sort of ask yourself. Obviously, you know, everyone's different and I can't personally take you through it on this video because it's a video. But here's some just questions to sort of get the cogs turning and to actually get you thinking. But you need to have a vision. If you don't have a vision, then you don't have any direction. You don't know what you want. Your brain's not going to be motivated enough to actually follow through with things. So you need a vision, right? What does and get deep on this. Like, don't just say 10K a month, because 10K a month is just the tool, right? There's deeper reasons than that. 10K is just the tool that's allowing you to live the dream life, okay? So what does your ideal life actually look like in 5 years? If everything went perfectly from now on, what does your dream life look like in 5 years? And don't just say some surface level shit. You know, we're all programmed by society to like think small. Well, fuck that. Just don't think small, think big. Like, what does your ideal life look like in 5 years? Write it all down in as much detail as possible. Like, what are you actually doing on a daily basis? What things do you have? What kind of life is your family living? Things like that. What's actually important to you as well, right? What do you actually value? Because your ideal life is gonna revolve around the things that are actually important to you, and then that's gonna drive you forward as well. And what things are happening now that you want to eliminate? That's also something that maybe you need to consider as well. Like, what are you doing right now that you wouldn't be doing if this vision were to happen? Maybe it's a job you've got that you don't want. Could be anything really. Could be people that you're surrounded by that you don't want to be surrounded by, right? So then you need to think of ways of, well, how can you integrate into a new social group that actually does push you forward and make you a better person? It could be anything, but you need to think about what your ideal life looks like and what things you need to eliminate from that as well. Clarity. So this kind of just comes down to like function in the vehicle on a micro level, right? You only have so much focus and quality effort to actually allocate every week before procrastination kicks in, and you're just you're saying you work in 8 hours, but actually how much deep work's getting done? Probably like, 2 or 3 hours. The rest of it's you just focusing on shit that doesn't actually matter. So when you have the vehicle in front of you and you actually know what that looks like, then you need to break that down and think, well, what are the actual tasks that are actually going to move my business forward? Like, what are the needle moving tasks? And you really need to rank them by return on investment. So the biggest return on investment things at the very top, and these are the things that you need, that are going to be more non-negotiable, that you kind of need to be thinking, well, okay, when do I work best in the day? Am I a morning person? Am I a night person? And when can I fit these tasks in so that they get done religiously and they get done to a good standard? So yeah, the art of knowing exactly what tasks align with your vision and what will give you the biggest ROI to actually get there. At a minimum, you want to be doing 2 hours of deep work on like big tasks that are actually going to move your business forward. Not making graphics and shit like that. Actually stuff that's going to generate you cash, right? Every single day, 2 hours of deep work. And this is going to probably be more creative work, like content stuff, YouTube and scripting videos and stuff. I find that I like to do this stuff in the morning. That's when I feel most sharp. So I can do the creative stuff in the morning, then I can do more like calls and things like that. And then any sort of like low value sort of like admin tasks, they can just get done later. And also you need to do like a productivity audit as well, right? For 3 days, just write down exactly what you do hour by hour. I know it's a pain in the ass, but if you do that, you will really see where your time is getting sucked up. And then you'll be able to say, okay, is this task, if I had to just remove this task from existence in my business, would my business fail? Probably not. Okay. Is this actually moving my business forward? If it's not, then it needs to go. Simple as that. So yeah, you just really need to get dialed in on what tasks are going to make you the most money and the tasks that you need to eliminate. You need to know your why. So obviously having a vision is all good, is all well and good, but like why do you want that? Now this can get a little bit deep, right? And you know, it can be for many different reasons, right? If we just have a little triangle here, so us as humans, the way we operate is on different levels. So at the bottom, you've got like basic needs. So if you're broke as hell, if you're homeless, right, your main priority is going to be like sleep, food, shelter, pretty much. Sleep, food, and shelter. All your sort of tasks in the day are going to be based around making sure all these things are covered. Then after that, the next two sections, right, which kind of can chop and change depending on the person. But usually it's like status. Because when you've got the basic needs sorted, this is why a lot of people tend to buy like designer clothes and things like that, even though they're still kind of broke, is that they want to look good socially. So status, that's probably after basic needs. Then you've got freedom, right? Because you might look like the man to all your friends and stuff, but you don't really have freedom yet. Like you're still doing a job that you don't really enjoy. However, sometimes people can value freedom more than status, and sometimes people can value status more than freedom. Usually the ones who value freedom more are the people who are good at saving. You know, they're good with their money, they don't splurge on shit, and things like that. And then the people with status, who prefer status, are the ones who tend to splurge on maybe a nice car or designer clothes, holidays, things like that. And then at the top here, not many people actually get to this section. And this is kind of where you're making so much money that you just don't really know what to do with it. And then your biggest problem is like, how do you actually keep yourself feeling fulfilled and motivated when absolutely everything here is covered, right? You've got enough money to do whatever the hell you want with. You are basically, you know, you can do whatever you want whenever you want. Your business is very systemized and automated, and you've got people working for you. You know, you've done the nice car, you've done the holidays, you've done all that shit, and obviously basic needs is covered as well. And that then it gets to more of a point of, well, actually, how do you keep yourself fulfilled? Like, you need a higher purpose. This is the point where you're trying to figure out what your higher purpose is, and you need goals that are like beyond yourself, right? Your family's covered, all this good stuff, and yeah, it's about what to do after that point. So yeah, so I got kind of distracted there, but that's kind of what we're looking at here. So why do you have this vision? If it's 10K a month, are you trying to provide for your family, provide for your loved ones? Were you bullied as a kid, right? And you just want to sort of prove people wrong, right? You want to be able to get whatever you want. You need to really dig deep here and think what it is. Family, providing for your family, status, freedom, whatever it may be, whatever's most important to you, and you want to find that core reason of why your vision is the way it is, right? Or might just be a case of like you're trying to escape something. You have like unhealed trauma or psychological issues, insecurities, low self-worth, low confidence, all these deep things that can be that are pushing you, right? You're escaping pain, because all it comes down to is like pain. So something that pushes you away from pain, or it's like desires. But this is more of a pulling effect, right? So you've got these desires that are pulling you towards them, and pain, these are things that are like pushing you away. So you're trying to escape something. So what are you trying to escape? You need to figure that out, and really understand yourself on a deeper level, because this is not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing at all. Like, you might have all these things, these little issues and things that you're not quite happy about, but those are the things that are actually might be the reason why you're actually a successful person, right? Happens all the time. These people who have had a really rough upbringing, and then that just actually gives them that grit and that determination to actually make it work, and to actually get to their goal. So what you're escaping, you need to get deep. Don't just be surface level about it. Really sit down and get to the bottom of this shit. Like, this is what's actually going to push you forward, and this is what matters way more than the vehicle, in my opinion. So this is going to allow you to dig deep, right? When it actually counts. Okay, you might be fine for a couple of weeks or whatever, couple months, but when it actually gets to those points where you really do just need to push through, those are the points that count, and to do that, your mindset needs to be on point. Cost of inaction. So what will your life look like if you don't make this change? Who are you going to let down, right? What are people going to think of you for giving up, right? Doesn't really look great to your kids, because you wouldn't want them to give up on their dreams. So you have to be a role model, right? And actually do what you say you're going to do. And I know it's a bit dark, but without a cost of you not acting, then your brain's just going to protect you from pain, which is doing the work, because there's no consequences. So you really need to kind of get to the bottom of this as well. Like, what's going to happen if you don't do this? Because if there's no consequences and you're happy as you are, then why would you put yourself through the suffering to actually, become a 6 or 7 figure business owner? And no matter how passionate you are about this, there will always be friction along the way and tasks that you don't particularly enjoy. Like, that doesn't exist. Like, even when you're in an area of business that you're really passionate about, there's always going to be tasks that you don't enjoy doing. That's just the way it is. So when it comes to mindset as well, you need to eliminate the need for willpower as much as you can. So you need to try and systemize things and protect your focus at all costs. So this is what I was kind of saying about really getting dialed in on those tasks that you know are going to bring the biggest ROI to your business, so that you can make sure that they get done first. Yeah, and you need to basically systemize your productivity as well. So what does that look like? Well, if I just show you something, don't mind all my little drawings. So you want to make it like predictable, and you want your brain to associate focused deep work with a series of things, right? It's all just about habit formation, right? If you've not read the book Atomic Habits, pretty sure you have, everyone's read it. It's a good read, and it kind of just, it explains the process of how you can maximize your habit formation. A big part of it is organization, right? Planning what you need to do. So sitting down the night before and just figuring out what tasks you actually need to do the next morning, right? So you don't just get up in the morning and sit down in front of a blank screen and not know what you're going to do, right? You need to have some sort of plan, right? So you can make it easier for yourself. So failing to plan is planning to fail, pretty much. So you want to wake up early. If you're anything like me, if I wake up a bit too late, it just instantly feels like I'm off on the wrong foot. So you want to wake up early. Make sure that your sleep hygiene is on point, okay? So, you know, as a personal trainer, you should know about sleep. If not, then you need to do some research. But you want to make sure that you have a good bedtime routine, you know, completely blacked out the room, consistent, you know, bedtime and wake up time, all these things. I think exercising in the morning is good, or just sweating right away, even if it's a walk to like clear your head, that's also good. You know, releasing endorphins gives you a sense of pride. It's a good way to start the day, and it kind of gets you in a good frame of mind. So just light to moderate cardio, or even just do your lifts, right? Initial work routine. So basically in the morning, you just want to stack wins. So you might just have a couple easy tasks just to sort of ease you in, and sort of ease you into that flow state. So it's just easy. They're just quick wins for like dopamine hits, right? To spark a bit of momentum. Because as soon as a lot of the time I find with people it's actually just getting started that's the issue. They just procrastinate. Their brain just wants to escape it. However, when they're actually doing it, they're fine. Like, they'll just work. A daily 3 to 5. So personally, I think this is a sweet spot. Work for 3 to 5 focused hours each day. Your work day can still be 8 hours, but 3 to 5 like deep work sessions is recommended. And for each hour, you must have a little plan of action of what you want to do. So it's actually as productive as possible. It all comes back to being as planned as possible, organized. Use a timer. This one's a game changer. Just like this, right? Just at your desk. Great little tool. Very cheap. Doesn't cost anything. Yeah, so this is the exact timer that I'm talking about. This is probably one of the best return on investments that I've ever spent, right? It was like five quid or something. But yeah, you just want to, I find 60 minutes is the sweet spot as well, because it's not too long. And then after 60 minutes, like when the 60-minute mark comes around, I'm still pretty focused. However, if you just sort of cut it there and take a little break, it just means that the momentum when you go into the next block is still pretty high. Hood up and AirPods combo, although I just bought these Bose headphones, and honestly, I think it is definitely a good investment. You know, it's a business expense. It's got a microphone. The sound quality is amazing. The noise cancelling is amazing. So it's like I'm actually excited to start my deep work session. So in my opinion, it was a really good investment. But you want to create a setup which you only associate with deep work. So that might be your headphones on, right? These I don't wear them to the gym or anything like that. It's purely just for at home and work. I don't like chill and listen to music or anything like that. I only listen to music when I'm working. So my brain associates these headphones on with work. You can also wear a hoodie with like the hood up. Just anything, maybe 2 or 3 things that just you do when you're about to start doing deep work, and then your brain will associate that with work, and it'll just be much, much easier for you to then get into that flow state. And you want to just train yourself to sit there and work until the timer comes off. Like if you're sloppy about it and you start doing other things while the time is on, then that's going to ruin this strong association that we're trying to develop. Create a playlist that makes you feel good, right? Again, just optimizing the hormones, creating an environment that benefits you, like it doesn't hold you back. So 0 distractions, so phone in another room, or like an app blocker, that's what I use now. So basically, between the hours of 9 to 5, Instagram is blocked, WhatsApp, Reddit, Auto Trader, all these things that my brain would just want to go and look at and scroll. I can't do it anymore. And I've got an app called, it's called Unplug, like this. Right? And basically what they do is they send you out this little tag. And the only way, and this is like your access tool. So you can't go in and change the settings or remove the block unless you scan this little tag with your phone. So obviously I just make sure the tag is not accessible. And then for me personally, that's enough friction for me to then not want to do it. Because the problem with like Instagram and Reels and YouTube and stuff is a lot of the time it's just subconscious. Like you just subconsciously procrastinate. And before you know it, you've wasted like an hour without even realizing it. So just adding a little bit of friction can really help. So 0 distractions, and then accountability form. This is optional, but I use a form. Like I've got my work forms here. Basically at the start of the day, I'll just kind of show you start of the day. So what your driving forces for doing work today. How are you going to be 1% better this day? What tasks are you going to complete today? Do you promise to work hard and complete all the above tasks? And then after each session, right, we'll go dating, like when is it? Because you can look back on this and make sure, and you know, you can link this to a Google spreadsheet and see what you're actually doing on an hour by hour basis. What is your one goal that you want to achieve by the end of 2024? Please be specific and write your plan to achieve it. What did you do during this period? Be detailed. How would you rate your focus? What can you do so your focus and effort is better next time? And then just a little sort of promise to myself here. But I think just makes it more systemized, and it's just contributing to the overall accountability, right, and making me more likely to do something. And it's also reminding me of my goals on like an hourly basis, right? Because what used to happen to me is I would set all these goals when motivation was high, like at the start of me planning something, right? Like week 1 of doing X, Y, and Z. But then by the time sort of month 2 came around, because you're in such like autopilot mode. It's the same with like a fitness, you know, let's say you want to lose weight or compete or something. Because you're in such an like a state of autopilot, you always like forget about these goals and like why you're actually doing it. So I find just every day like reminding myself why I'm doing this is really helpful. So yeah, so systemize your productivity like this. I even have like some SOPs about like I've documented what I actually need to do when I sit down to work every day. And like as soon as I open Google Chrome, like it opens, so I find that quite helpful. So just systemizing your productivity as much as possible, so that then you don't need to use as much willpower, right? Because then it just feels a lot more subconscious, and it's much easier to get things done. So writing down your goals every day, like I said in the form, positive feedback loops, kind of going back to what I said about the atomic habits, just understanding how habits work and just making it easier for yourself. And don't forget to allocate time to having fun as well. So like the weekend. Don't just work all the time, because when you actually have fun at the weekend, knowing that you've completed all your tasks and you've worked as hard as you wanted to during the week, you tend to just be a lot more happy and like stress free. Literally stress as a business owner is just the result of you not completing tasks that need to be done. If you just complete the tasks that need to be done, then stress doesn't really exist. So the summary and action points for that, establish your long-term vision and goals. Get clear on the actions that are most important, and these should be optimized towards hitting those metrics at the start of the video, like clients closed, booked calls, new conversations, stuff like that. Get deep on your why and the cost of it in action if you give up. Visualize this daily, so just make it impossible for yourself to give up. There's no reason why you'd give up. The vehicle works. You just need to actually get a grip and do what needs to be done. Visualize it daily, and then design your environment and routine for success. So your routine, or if you need to download app blockers and things like that to make sure that you don't procrastinate, then do that. So the next stage, right? Tall towers are built on strong foundations. So here's the last thing that you want, right? To be stuck in the mud and feel like you're just not able to get off the ground. For things not to click because you aren't fully aligned with like your strengths and what your purpose is. You just being another online coach clone who just copies everyone else, right? You won't make it past 3K a month if you do that, I promise you. And a lot of coaches tend to do that. They just tend to copy everyone else instead of actually investing in themselves and getting the right knowledge so that they can actually do the right things, but do it in their own way as well. And also, to feel like a fraud with no real value to the market. So how to actually find your purpose and dominate your niche, because you've gone through some mindset things. Now it's about what niche are you going to target, right? Obviously, you don't want to target too many people. You just want a small group of people in the market who you're best suited to serve, right? And then really, really serve those people. But yeah, let's get into it. How to actually select your niche. It's kind of a few things you need to know is like, well, the first step one is I always tell people to look into their past and their own story. What kind of person are you going to relate to the most? That's actually really important, because people buy from people who they know, who they like, and who they trust. These three things, right? Know, like, and trust. It all kind of contributes to how they relate to you as well, and how much of your stuff resonates with them. If there's a bit of a disconnect, right, between what they want and what you're doing, then you've got this gap, right, which is going to make it harder for you to actually sell to them, right? Like, let's say some of your social proof doesn't relate to them. Some of your content doesn't relate to them. Your story doesn't relate to them, like your transformation, your story. What you're talking about doesn't relate to them. Like, maybe you can still offer a service that can help them, but because of all this stuff, they're just going to go to someone else. So that's why it's always important. If you have achieved the transformation, then your dream client, your target audience, ideally needs to be you from like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it was. Whenever you were at your lowest, you want to be targeting people like that because they're going to resonate with what you're saying much, much more. And yeah, basically just who are you in the best position to give real life insights and expertise to? So that's why I say use your own story, because you're going to be in a much stronger position. I've seen a guy recently who's like a like a man in his late 20s, and he's trying to target mums. And he's got like 1,000 posts, but he only has like 350 followers. And it's just because there's such a massive disconnect there that things just aren't clicking in the way that it could be if he just selected a much better niche. So you just need to, think who you're actually going to relate to the most, and who do you have the most expertise to serve? Because a lot of time, expertise just comes from experience, right? Not just from a textbook. So that's just something to think about. So always use your own story as a base. If you don't really have a transformation, it will just be a bit more. It'll be a bit harder, but you just need to pick a niche who you're going to relate to the most. Is my personal advice. So now you need to know, like, who is it, but on a bit of a deeper level, right? So the trick to really nailing your content, right, which we'll cover soon, is by pretending you're speaking to the same person every single post. So this is kind of what I was saying here, like the content, right? If only 1 in 3 pieces of content are actually relevant to the person, then they're not going to be as much of a loyal follower. And it's loyal followers that then turn into clients the most. So this is why picking a niche is so important when it comes to online. Like, as an in-person PT, you're just one of few people in the area who's a PT. So you just need to, you can basically get away with targeting everyone, and people will just come to you anyway. However, online, you're trying to, your content is going out to potentially anyone. So it really is important to know that your content is actually targeted towards a specific kind of person, so that when that person finds you, you've got all this content. Your profile is going to look much more, they're going to be much more likely to actually want to follow you and pay attention to what you're saying if you're really resonating with them. So you just want to pretend, and the easiest way to do that is just pretend you're speaking to the same person every single time, because then that means everything's going to stay consistent. Also, the operational drag in your business will be very low, because you'll just be serving one kind of person. And this is very important for having a scalable business with high return on investments. So, the more people that you're helping, right? This guy wants X, Y, and Z. This person might want the same outcome, right? But then they have all these other problems that they need sorted. This person also wants the outcome, but then they have all these problems as well. And it's different, right? So if you just try and target the same person, then you can just make content that solves all these things, right, and helps them get to this outcome. However, the content is just going to be much more relatable to him because you'll be talking about his personal struggles, his pain points, and all this sort of stuff. Because like a guy who's like 18 trying to lose weight and lose 20 pounds is obviously going to be a very different situation to a 40-year-old mum, her circumstances, who wants to lose weight as well. So you want to be talking to that mum and about all the sort of possible obstacles that she's experiencing that's stopping her from losing weight. And it's going to be very different to this 18-year-old guy who's wanting to get shredded, right, for a festival that's coming up. So this is why, you know, you want to keep resonance as high as possible. And to do that, you need to be talking to the same person every single time. But also, just from a back-end business point of view, like, if you're just solving the same problems every single time, it's going to be much, much easier for you to get people results because you're going to master this one journey as opposed to trying to accommodate everyone. And just even like your, like, the sense of community as well. Like if everyone is on the same mission, your community inside the program is going to be much more valuable to them, and they're going to be more likely to stick around with you for longer. Whereas if you're dealing with too many different people, it's not going to feel like their tribe, if that makes sense. Another thing, all your client results will be showing off exactly the same outcomes and problems being solved. So kind of going back to what I said here, so the social proof, right? If this person is seeing loads of different kind of results that aren't relevant to them, they're going to tune out of your marketing when it comes to showing off client results. So you want to make sure that all the client results are relevant to the person that you're trying to target, and then you'll be more likely, it'll be a lot more punchy, because every time they see a piece of social proof on your story or whatever, it's going to hit a lot deeper, and they're going to be more, it's just going to stack in their mind until eventually they want to become a client. You know, they'll resonate hard with every single post, which will result in them becoming more of a loyal follower, like I said, eventually a buyer. Unlike someone who's being too generalized, and then they just have this very watered down and diluted audience who they can't really sell to that well. It looks like they're doing really well on from the outside point of view, but really on the back end they're not really making that much money because their audience is so diluted down. It'll be much easier for you to become a master of what you coach, therefore providing a better service to your clients. It's much easier to build an amazing product if the product is serving one purpose. If it's very generalized, you're going to struggle on the back end. People will pay more money because it feels like the perfect opportunity, and the level of specificity towards what they need is going to be much higher, so they're going to be much more likely to want to pay you more money because the opportunity simply just looks like the best one on the market for what they need personally. So that's important. I mean, the list goes on forever, right? It's going to be more fun working with people who are more relatable to you as well. Clients will feel more like friends because you're remaining true to yourself, and you're using your own expertise and your own experiences to help people. The pool of potential problems you'll have to solve will be massively reduced. You can have a frequently asked questions that get documented and systemized, making the whole customer experience much better for people. Eventually your process of getting results is so dialed in that you barely have to lift a finger, and your targeted audience are being completely overwhelmed with the amount of relevant social proof on your Instagram that you just get this snowball effect, and you can no longer handle your DMs and you need an appointment set. That's what's happened to a lot of my clients, because when that snowball effect kicks in, when you do it like this, it really does kick in. it kicks in big time and your business can change overnight. It's happened to multiple people. With Cody, with my client Cody, he had like just under 2,000 followers when we met, and now he has 50k, and that happened in the space of like a few months. It was crazy. So if you do the right things and you're focusing on the right stuff, things can just change for you very quickly in a short space of time. Now, how to actually map out the who. So there's a few different angles you want to hit here. So alignment questions. You want to be working with people who actually align with you. So who would you love to work with? What are the green flags? Who would you hate to work with? What are the red flags? What areas of the market do you not agree with, right? Fad diets, being vegan, anything that can also get people results, but you don't agree with it. Obviously, you need to sort of double down on your own methodology, right? And that's going to attract more people who relate to what you're saying. Who could you work with forever, right? Describe this person. Who do you have the most experience and education to teach? Who gives you the biggest fulfillment factor? Who can you communicate the best with? And if you're an experienced online coach or personal trainer, you can look back at the clients who have gotten the very best results and who have been the easiest to work with, and use those people to shape who you want to work with as well. Brand questions. So what is your unique process to getting results? Is your own journey aligned with what you're offering, right? This is quite important. Are you able to solve all the problems associated with the transformation? What is the perception of you? What? This doesn't make any sense. What's the perception you want people to have of your brand when viewing your socials, and content? How can you be better than your direct competitors? So all these things, you're sculpting the perfect brand and the perfect product, and who you want to target, and how can you serve them in the very best way, better than anyone else. Customer persona. So you can really get super detailed on this. Obviously the basic stuff, what they do, what stage of life they're in, what their lifestyle looks like, what are their challenges, pain points, motivations, what outcome do they want, what kind of training do they like to do, hobbies, typical routines, what goals do they have, what motivating factors, what insecurities, what triggers, life commitments, family commitments. All this stuff is going to help you just shape the kind of person that you're wanting to target, because then you can sort of talk about these things that relate to them. Now, when you understand exactly who it is you're targeting, that has to happen first, because you don't make an offer or a program first. Because the program and the offer is specifically designed to help this person achieve the transformation. So you need to know who you're targeting first, and then you can make an offer that actually suits them. So the outcome, right? Sell the transformation, not the process. This is really important. People get carried away. People get carried away selling this stuff, right? The process, the mechanisms that are actually going to get them there. But this doesn't guarantee that they get there, right? This is just, you're basically just selling the work that they've got to do. No, that doesn't really get anyone hyped up. You've got to sell this. You've got to sell the transformation. So you want to sell based on their highest perception of value, right? Which is most likely either the things they want or the things that they don't want, and you're eliminating that. You're solving these issues via your program. So yeah, it's always based on pains or desires, right? If someone has really bad posture and back pain, then that's a program that's based around solving that problem. If you have a fat loss program, then you'll probably play on the desires a bit more, right? This end result that they really badly want. So I'll help you eliminate this, or I'll help you achieve this. And you want to really help them imagine that. So if you're not solving a big problem, then you're simply not going to be able to create enough demand and urgency. So it's just the way it is, right? Someone who wants to lose 60 pounds is obviously going to pay a lot more money than a power lifter who wants to add 10 kilograms to his bench, because the person who wants to lose 60 pounds is escaping a lot of pain. There's a lot of emotional issues there. However, the power lifter, it's just a hobby. Adding 10 kg to his bench is more of a luxury. It's not gonna change his life in any way. So naturally, the person who wants to lose a lot of fat is going to be in a position to. There's going to be more urgency to solve that issue. But you might not be in a niche that's like crazy profitable. But if you still want to do it, that's fine. You just need to figure out what the biggest pains and desires of that niche are, so that you can actually capitalize on it. Because if you don't do that well, you're just not going to be in a position to sell people a product. So is it a nice to have, or is it a need to have? You obviously want to be optimizing towards this as much as possible. So roadblocks. So you've articulated what the outcome is you want to sell, like what the transformation you want to sell is. Why haven't they hit this goal before? That's quite a big one, right? What's actually stopping them? Because these are all things that you want to eliminate in your program, right? So they might have pain point 1, pain point 2, and pain point 3. And over the course of 10 years that they've been trying to get to this goal, every single time that they've given up has been a result of one of these things. So if you just optimize your product, your service, and maximize and make these as little of a problem as possible, and make it really easy to get around here, right? You're going to be in a much better position to actually get them to their goal. So you need to understand what these things actually are, so that you can eliminate them in your program, and really dig deep here. Like, this is going to be a strong pushing force that will justify spending money. So you need to know what these things are, so that then you have more selling power by actually, being able to really eliminate these problems for them. So you just need to really get deep on like what's actually stopping them from achieving this outcome that they've wanted to do for a long time. Then you need to sort of articulate the offer. So the elements of a good offer, right, is obviously target audience. So who you're actually targeting. So you're calling them out. Target audience, a quantifiable end result or end outcome. So what a lot of people get wrong is they just end up selling the process, like I was saying before, which is, I will give you a training program, a nutrition program, and check-ins for this amount of money. They just sell the process. However, if you start to sell a quantifiable end result, you're going to have much more selling power and leverage. There's naturally going to be more demand to buy what you're offering them, because you're not offering them a training plan anymore. You're offering them a end result, which could be, I will help you lose 20 pounds of body fat. That's a quantifiable end result, because it's a number, it's a specific, because they're going to now imagine themselves 20 pounds down, right? So so you want to call out a specific part of the market. You want to give them a quantifiable end result. There should always be a time frame attached to that. No one wants to be coached indefinitely, right? You need a product, a proven product and a proven process that can get them from where they are now to their end transformation in a set time frame based on your expertise of getting people to that goal, right? So it's usually going to be 3 months or 6 months. That's like the sweet spot. Because then you can do weighted pricing and make this one look like the more appealing option. There's going to be pain point subtractions. Okay, so what does that mean? I help blue collar workers lose 20 pounds of fat in 180 days or less, or 90 days or less, without spending hours in the gym, without spending hours meal prepping, without giving up your favorite foods. These are pain point subtractions. So you need to figure out, based on who you're targeting, you need to figure out what are the biggest things that would stop them from doing this, right? What would make them not want to do this the most? Is it the thought of giving up beer and pizza, that they're just like, fuck it, it's not worth it, right? That's what I mean by that. It's like, you need to figure out what they value the most, that they feel like they're sacrificing. Are they sacrificing a lot of their time because they need to do all this meal prep and spend hours in the gym and it's just not worth it? This is what I mean by pain point subtraction, is you're basically using your product as a means to avoid these things that they don't want. So target audience, quantifiable end result, time frame, pain point subtraction, and then usually some sort of risk reversal / guarantee. So obviously a guarantee is going to make someone way more likely to fuck that up. You know what I mean? Risk reversal. Okay, so it's going to mean, if they pay you money and it doesn't, and your system doesn't work, then they'll get their money back. However, you need to have obviously stipulations in place to protect yourself. So you might offer a guarantee that if they follow everything that you tell them to do and it doesn't work, that you'll just give them their money back, or you'll keep working with them until they reach the goal, or there's loads of different guarantees you can have. Obviously getting their money back is like the highest leverage guarantee, but with that guarantee you need to make sure you protect yourself and you actually have stipulations in place. Like, they need to track their food every single day, they need to track their workouts every single time. Basically all these things that means that they've actually done the work that you've told them to do, and it's basically your fault. That's the only way they would be able to get their money back. And you just want to make sure that it's something that's actually realistic. But obviously having a guarantee is going to make someone much more comfortable giving their money to you, right? So that's really important. So these things make up a good offer statement. This is the statement framework, right? People love specificity. So when you get onto a call with them and you're like, I'll help you do this in this time frame without this, and look, if it doesn't work, give you your money back. People are going to be like, okay, this is an opportunity that I've never heard before. Damn, like this sounds like the opportunity that's clicking. So these are the sort of elements to a good sort of offer statement, right? And by constructing an offer statement, you'll then know exactly what your sort of mission is, and because everything will revolve around it. Like your content will basically be little segments of this transformation that you're getting people to. So when you know what your offer actually is, then it's like you need to know, what does the roadmap look like? Well, the roadmap is basically, how do you break it up? Like, what does it actually look like? All these little sections, right? Everything that actually needs to happen before they actually get to their goal. So just like here, I'm like helping you visualize the process of building an online fitness business. You also need to structure your program in a way that covers all bases. You might even want to like name the phases as well. Like, make this your own process, right? Make it sound like you're the only one who has this system, because then when you're on a sales call with them and you're explaining each phase, it's going to make it look like they can't get this anywhere else, because it's your proven system that's based on your experience of doing it yourself and getting other people there. So it's just going to make your service look much more, appealing than everyone else. However, if you're just selling training program, nutrition plan, and check-ins, you're just another online coach clone, and they're not going to be in a state of urgency to want to do this. So you need to name the phases, right? Name the phases, make it yours, break down what the transformation actually looks like to give them clarity, so they know exactly what's going to happen next. People don't just want to be coached indefinitely, like just one check-in after the next with no set roadmap or goals, right? That's not what people want. They want a clear and proven step-by-step process that gives them the easiest path to their goal, right? That's what they need. So you just need to sit down, now that you know what the transformation is you're selling, you know what the roadblocks are that they're experiencing. Now you can sit down and actually figure out what the roadmap looks like for getting someone from A to B. Then you need to know what the deliverables are. So what do they actually get, right? This is what I mean by the process, but the process is not the main selling point. However, knowing the deliverables is still important. So they get a training plan, they get a nutrition plan, they get check-ins, and obviously you want to have as many things as possible that stacks value in their favor of actually getting them to this transformation. So this is your opportunity to, think outside the box a little bit. Like, what bonuses can you add that are unique to this transformation that they want? Obviously, the training, nutrition, and check-ins, this is like the basic stuff. Everyone has this, but you might want to add more things that are relevant to your niche. Like monthly group calls, welcome pack. So, as an example, one of my clients is a kettlebell coach, and he has this deliverable where if someone chooses the 6-month option, then they get a free starter pack, which basically gives them a few little accessories and their first kettlebell, which I think is an awesome idea, right? Because that's a little bit of friction that people have to worry about. Or like, after I buy this, then I need to figure out what kettlebell to buy. However, Trevor just sorts that all out for them. He sends them a little welcome pack that means they can just get started immediately. So that's a really good example. So you just want to stack value as much as possible, but make sure everything is actually useful. Don't just add shit for the sake of it. So now that we've kind of went through this stuff, here's like a little checklist. So scalable, right? Are you targeting one kind of person with one sort of main problem that can be solved by one offer or solution? Okay. The more simple it is for you, the more scalable your product is going to be. If you're too generalized, then you're going to start to get overwhelmed when you're working with only like 20 people. However, if you've really systemized and documented the process that this one person needs to go from A to B, then everyone can just follow the same process, and it just means it's going to be a lot less operational drag for you on the back end. Money, do they actually have access to disposable income? And is the problem big enough to justify spending a four-figure sum of money? Okay, that's important. Or you're just simply not going to be able to sell it because you should be charging too much. Accessible, are they easily accessible online? Expertise, will they resonate with you, and are you playing to your strengths here? So like I said about the guy who is a man in his 20s targeting mums, he's not really working to his strengths there. He's at a disadvantage, so he's always swimming upstream instead of going with something that's more aligned and will feel more natural to him. So you just need to make sure that all these things are sort of checked. You know, you don't want to be targeting grandmas on TikTok because it's just not going to happen. So yeah, it's just things to be aware of there. Systems. So now that you've got an offer, you know what the roadmap looks like, you know what the deliverables are. You obviously now need to make sure that you can facilitate this stuff, and you've got the software in place for someone to go through this. So systems. So, you know, obviously you want to look into a platform for your clients. So common one, probably the best practice in the UK is OneFit. Trainerize is popular, and I've got clients using Everfit as well. Really, it doesn't matter too much. Like, all of these platforms are going to have what you need. It really just kind of comes down to preference, to be honest. I like OneFit because it's like a mix between these sort of big corporate companies like Trainerize and stuff, which are very user friendly, but they're not very customizable. And then, so it's the sweet spot between those and like Google Sheets, which is what I used to use for clients, which is very customizable, but obviously it's not as user friendly. So OneFit is made by coaches who used Google Sheets, who wanted a platform that was like right in the middle and very customizable and very simple. So OneFit's good. I've used Trainerize as well though. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. You just need to make sure that all the mechanisms are in place for you to give, you know, check-ins and things like that, and look at the data, allow them to upload their progress pictures, allow them to track their workouts, all this stuff, so that then you're actually in a good position as a coach to give them feedback and make sure that you're getting them to their goal. Other things to consider: Calendly for booking calls, client calls, sales calls, Zoom Pro. Right, if you're doing video calls, you need Zoom Pro, or your call will just cut out when you get to the end of the free like time that you get, which happened to me on a sales call, unfortunately, because I didn't know. So definitely you need Zoom Pro if you're going to be doing a lot of video chats. Loom is good for like recording videos. So let's say one of your deliverables is like a course, right, that's like tailored towards the niche. You'll probably want to record the videos, the lessons, using Loom. It's basically just a screen recorder. Basically exactly what I'm using now is Loom, right, to record my screen and my face. And then Google Drive as well, just for storing documents, having like client information there, you know, all your modules in there, basically just for storing documents and videos and photos and stuff. So to summarize, so get clear on your niche and what you're selling. So you want to know exactly who you're targeting and what you're selling them. It needs to be based around a transformation, the highest perception of value that they need, and that's what you're basing on. Understand your customer persona better than they understand themselves. So that when you're putting out content, you're speaking to the same person every single time. Map out how you're actually going to get them to the outcome, and then get everything that you need to execute. Okay. So next is the conversion mechanisms. This is kind of more into like the business infrastructure of how you're of the business model. So what even is a funnel, right? Because that's kind of what it is. A funnel takes a new viewer, right? Let's just say this is the funnel. Here is where you're selling your program, and these are all just people who are out in the market, and this is the point where they see one of your videos. All right, so you're trying to get these people down the funnel, right? So you're going to have different parts of the funnel as well. And these lines are like your conversion mechanisms. So basically, a funnel is just a means of directing traffic closer to your end goal, which is obviously closing them into a new client. And along the way, you'll basically be pre-selling them, because they'll have different stages of awareness the further down they get into your funnel. So you just want to be pre-selling them along the way. And the more pre-selling you do, the better position you're going to be on a call here to actually close them, right? If you just go straight from like them watching one video to a call, that's not good, because your close rate is going to be shit. You haven't pre-sold them enough, and you're just not going to close anyone. So that's why there needs to be a process here of them going step by step. And tech guys and web designers will massively inflate the importance of having a fancy one, like a fancy website funnel. And the truth is, it's not necessary at all. So don't waste your money. Don't listen to them. It's a shiny object. So let's look at this beginner's funnel, 0 to 25K. So simply by just having your social media profile optimized, what that looks like is going to be a good profile picture, right, with your happy face. Okay, good profile picture. Then it's going to be your name, the name section. So basically in the name section, you obviously, it's a first impression, so you want people to know who you are, right? And then you're just going to tell them your title. So I don't know, it might be fitness coach for dads. Right? For dads. And then there's kind of like two sections here. So there'll be this part, and this part. So this is your who you help statement. I help X with Y, right? So when someone lands on your profile, they know who you help and they know what you help with. Then you might want to enter some kind of social proof. So that could look like I've helped over 150 men with X, or it might be like I don't know, I help entrepreneurs with this, award-winning author and, you know, award-winning CEO, best-selling author. You know, just something that kind of makes you seem like more of an authority in the space. So something that makes you look like more of an expert, right? You might have below this. And then at the bottom is basically just a call to action. And the call to action will basically, because you'll have like a bio link here, right? So the call to action It's basically just getting people to click on this, right? So usually that would be maybe like an application, or it would be a VSL, or you'd be linking people to a free resource. Basically, you just want as many people as possible to click on the link. So that's kind of what the profile looks like. A good face shot is always recommended. Name, title. I help this kind of person with this. Here's why you should listen to me, and then here's a call to action. That's kind of what it should look like. So yeah, the bio link would lead to an application or a VSL, and this is kind of like a qualification process to qualify the people coming into your funnel, to make sure that the ones who actually get to the sales call are going to be actually people who you can help. Because the last thing you want is to fill your calendar up with sales calls, get bogged down, your close rate is like shit because you haven't qualified people, and then your time is just being zapped and you're not seeing any monetary gains from it. So application process, like if it's a VSL, you will disqualify people in the VSL, right? Can't show you YouTube, but yeah, basically the VSL. I'm not going to cover the VSL framework in this video. If you want me to go over it, let me in the comments below and I'll do it in a different video. But a VSL is basically just a fairly long video that is based around a case study that basically qualifies people, pre-sells them on what you sell, shows you as an authority, basically just, yeah, sells them on your product so that then they want to book a call. Okay, disqualifies some people, qualifies some people. For the people who are qualified, they're impressed by the amount of value that you're giving away. It feels like the right thing for them, so they want to book a call. An application is also just a way of collecting information and seeing if they maybe would be a good fit, so that then you can book them onto a call or reach out to them. The nurturing process, so on Calendly, right? Because after they book a call, you want to make sure that they actually turn up to a call. Because obviously you've got your close rate and the amount of leads that are coming in, but then in between here, right, you've got the show rate. So in between here, let's say the lead books a call, you will want to send out a series of emails and texts and a resource which basically nurtures them, right? So they're getting reminders. They're getting reminders about the call. They're being given value, right? You might send them a video or two. And all this will be automated as well. So on Calendly, you can set up email reminders and SMS reminders, and you can type whatever you want in the email and the SMS reminders. So reminding them about the call, sending them a free resource, reminding them to watch the VSL, all that sort of stuff is all going to improve the show rate. And to be honest, show rate isn't really a problem for me and my clients. The system is obviously, dialed in. It'd be very rare that someone doesn't show up to a call. But if you don't have this in place, and let's say this is like 3 days, the honest truth is that people don't, you're not really a priority to people. They're, in these 3 days, they're going to have all sorts of little personal errands and problems that they're dealing with. And it's quite easy for them just to forget about this call. So you want to make sure that they don't forget, and you have something like this in place, a nurturing sequence. So that's kind of all a funnel needs to look like, because when someone actually lands on your profile and follows you, right, you can then reach out to them. So you're casting a wide net over everyone. You're introducing yourself and you're just touching base with every new follower. so that then they're in your inbox and you can sell to them over a period of time. Only 3% of people who actually land on your profile and even follow you, to be honest, will be ready to buy. So what does that mean? Well, you need to obviously make the first contact, right, with a new follower. Then you need to nurture them over time. This is them becoming a client, right? So new follower, they could be a good fit for your program, but they just aren't ready yet for whatever reason, right? They're just not at that stage. They're not in this 3% of buyer awareness. So basically, yeah, you just need to nurture them over time. You know, hey, how you doing? Have a little chat. Hey, how you doing? How are you getting on? Just building relationships with people. And a lot of people aren't willing to do this. They think that they're annoying people, so they won't even reach out in the first place. But actually, when you actually implement this, what you'll realize is a lot of people are actually grateful, because a lot of coaches aren't doing this. They're not this proactive. They just treat their followers as a number, as a vanity metric, and they don't actually reach out to their followers. One, because they're too lazy, or two, because they feel like they're going to be annoying people, or three, they just have so many followers who are just not qualified, and it's just far too overwhelming for them to actually dive into the inbox and qualify people. So they end up making less money. The person with 100k followers actually ends up making less money than the person with, say, like 10k, because he has a super loyal fan base of people who are actually a good fit for his product, which is why he's running the Instagram in the first place, because he's trying to sell his service. And this guy actually ends up making more money because he has his appointment setting system dialed. A lot of his new followers actually want what he's selling, and it's just a much better place to be in, to be honest. So yeah, he follows a set process that he goes through with every single new follower. This person is just far too overwhelming, far too many people coming through the door who aren't qualified, and they just end up sitting in his follower list doing nothing. No money is being made for them. So that's not the kind of situation you want to be in. However, if you do this and you have a set process, you cast a wide net over everyone. These are all in your inbox, and eventually, whether it's 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, a lot of these people eventually get to this point, right? So you end up making a lot more money. So a more advanced funnel, right? So this is kind of where you want to be owning your attention a bit more. So to do that, you'd want like an email list or a group, a school community, a Facebook group, and it just means you're able to put out this free offer, which is very, very low barrier to entry, and it means that now you can qualify them a bit more. Because on a Facebook group or a school community, right, you would have little questions that they need to answer before they actually get into the group. Name, email address, what goals are you working on at the minute? Things like that, so you can qualify them a bit more. And because it's low barrier to entry and it's a free group, loads of people will go into it. Then you can have an appointment setter who basically just reaches out to every single person who could be a good fit and books them onto calls. But this is only really advised when you're running a lot of traffic and you've got a lot of followers, because it's just an additional way to qualify them. And you can nurture people with email addresses, like a newsletter. You can have some appointment setter qualifying leads for you, booking triage calls, so that then the people who actually land on your sales calls have already been massively qualified and these are people who are basically ready to go. They're basically like more like enrollment calls, to be honest. Stricter calendar questions. You might want to count a thank you page for when people book calls. That covers call etiquette, VSL, social proof, things like that. So, but to be honest, you don't need any of that. If you're still quite in early days, you still have the capacity to message every single person, to coach all your clients, and to upload content. So you don't need a fancy funnel. You don't need to hire anyone. You can keep margins like 95%. 95% all the way up until 25k a month, easily. I've seen it before plenty of times. So you don't need to worry about too much about the fancy funnel. The fancy funnel is more just you optimizing, right, and trying to actually make the most of the traffic that you've got coming in. So you wouldn't worry about this until you're running a lot of traffic. So yeah, that's kind of funnels and conversion mechanisms. Basically what you're trying to do is just get each person through to the next stage. So what I mean by that is, first from your content, you're trying to get them to come onto your profile, okay? Then you're trying to make them follow you, so that's why you've got your profile optimized, right? You're trying to resonate with them, make them want to follow you. Then you would probably want them to click on your bio link, right? Then you would want them to book a call. So obviously there's, into a conversation actually, and then a call. And by you being proactive, you're actually taking matters into your own hands and making these combos happen, right? But you will also be having people go through the bio link as well. Now I just want to quickly show you an ecosystem funnel. This is the kind of ecosystem funnel that we use. Well, it's not really a funnel, but it just kind of explains things a bit better. So you've got traffic, right? They see your TikToks and Reels. They go to your VSL or a sales asset. This is like the bio link. So they find your profile, they click on the link, they get sent to YouTube, they binge more YouTube content, and if they haven't already, right, they would follow you on Instagram. And then from here, you're obviously sending out the warm DM, which is what I meant before. They follow you, you're being proactive, so you send them the warm DM, you give them some value, you find out what they're struggling with, right? Then you book a call that way. Alternatively, right, they just remain a follower, which is fine, but you're constantly promoting your new long form videos on your story, because long form videos are going to nurture people much more than reels. So ideally you want to get people from your Instagram profile to YouTube, because they're going to be much more likely to book a call if you do that. So they're going to watch this new video, they're going to binge more content, then they're going to book a call. Your stories are going to be nurturing them with social proof, client wins, lifestyle, behind the scenes. You'll have promotions and more direct call to actions going on, which will get people into your DMs. And none of this ends until you close a deal, right? And then when you get people results, you use the results back in your marketing, and it's just this constant cycle of new people coming in, your ecosystem getting bigger and bigger, and then you essentially closing more deals, right? And more people being involved in this. So that's that. So next we're going to go on to sourcing traffic. So principles, right, the 7-hour rule. this is another this is the main reason why YouTube is more powerful, is because if it takes someone 7 hours to become a stranger, to take someone from being a stranger to a client, then you have to be using long form content to really to narrow this gap. And I fully believe this is why my clients are able to convert people into clients much quicker than anyone else, is because most people are just relying on Instagram and TikTok to generate clients. And if someone only watches your Instagram videos, it's going to take them months to want to become a client, to be honest. However, if someone finds your YouTube, now they're watching like 30-minute videos at a time. They're going to be much more, and they're seeing this book a call link right in front of them every time they watch a video. They're going to be way more likely to become a client. So this is really a cheat code that no one's using. And everything really does evolve around attention these days. So let's say you're not posting YouTube videos. You need to be posting like as many stories as possible, and your frequency of videos needs to be high. Because if someone just sees your face 1 time a day versus 5 times a day, the person who's getting their face seen 5 times a day is literally reducing this window at a speed which is 5 times greater. So they're harvesting more attention, and the more attention that they get, the more the person is going to know, like, and trust them, so they're going to be able to turn them into a client much quicker. And then this compound interest, right, that kind of works when it comes to marketing is like, you've got so effort is here. Well, no, like the results, right, and then time. So this is basically the results of the effort that you're putting in. And then this is time. And what happens in marketing is usually it's kind of a bit like fat loss, really. Like when you first start a big fat loss journey, you don't really tend to see that much results. However, when it gets to the end of the transformation, that's when it's like your body's changing every single week. But it kind of works the same way in marketing. Like, it'll feel really slow, and then all of a sudden you'll just get this massive spike. So if you're not willing to do this section, right, this is where most people give up. Okay, they're not consistent through this section, and then they don't experience this. And kind of like what I was saying earlier in the video, this is what happened to Cody. His business basically transformed overnight just because he was willing to keep ticking the boxes and keep uploading. So that actually happened in a matter of, he was gaining 1,000 followers every 2 weeks sort of thing. So really awesome. So if you're not willing to put in the effort consistently, then don't expect this compounding effect to take place. And if you're too comfortable, you're not going to be growing. So a lot of people, they'll get complacent, and kind of like what I was saying about, with the driver at the start of the video, one of 3 elements is skill development. So if you're simply just not performing enough repetitions, then your skill isn't going to be increasing. Whereas other people and competitors in your market are going to be putting in the repetition, and their skill, the market slowly gets more sophisticated over time, right? And it gets bigger, and you have to do more to get the same amount of results. So if your competitors are riding this wave, but you're just simply too up and down with like what you're actually doing, you're never going to be able to capitalize on this momentum of you actually just getting better at like making content and stuff. And really the only ways to find traffic is organic, paid, cold outreach, partnerships. I don't really deal with cold outreach at all, because with a fitness offer especially, it's quite an emotional decision to want to embark on a fitness transformation. So for you to just pop up and for them to want to actually be in the position to make a change in their life is very slim. But I also just think it just doesn't, it's a bit sleazy as well. You're just implying that they need to change, so it's not really good. In a B2B offer, it's a very logical thing, right? Like, most people would say yes to growing their business if they had the right solution in front of them. However, for you to assume that someone wants to make a fitness change or like a body transformation change just doesn't really sit well for me. So I don't deal with cold outreach, and I've never had a problem with clients getting results or myself getting results. Paid ads is more like a scaling strategy. I don't recommend it for new people or if you don't have a solid foundation in place. But what I do focus on is organic, right? And organic, whether you're doing paid or whatever, you will never complain about having your organic marketing in check and that machine running. Because if you can get people through organic, then your profit margins are going to be insane. However, if you're experimenting with paid ads, you're going to have to waste a lot of money. Paid ads can take ages. Like, it might not be until month 5 where like you're profitable, and all these months you're just wasting money. So you really have to be stubborn about, okay, I'm just going to keep testing until something works. However, you will get these business coaches who are running ads and convincing you that their ad system is like the best way forward, better than any other way, better than posting content. But it's too good to be true, I'm telling you. Obviously, there is a time and a place, and when you have nailed organic, right, ads will just amplify what's already working. So if you're already at 10K a month and you start running ads, you will have a lot of proof of concept, and it probably will be a lot more likely to work. So don't go in blind. So basically, I think when it comes to organic, step 1, like the worst thing you can possibly do is just make content based on how you feel instead of actually using the market to your advantage. And what I mean by that is, what you can basically do is competitor research to make sure that what you're putting out into the market is at least better than what other people are doing. But also you can use the data that's publicly available on these social media platforms to guide your decisions, so that you're making data-driven decisions, right, when you're making content. So step 1 in creating a solid content strategy is always competitor research. Making content based on how you feel, right, is not a good way to go about it. You always want to be making data-driven decisions if you want to make as much progress as possible. So you can use existing data to create a base and mold winning concepts to fit your niche and personality. I'm not saying to go out and like copy people, but you should be using the winning variables that the algorithm is favoring to give yourself an advantage, right? So here's a simple process you can follow, / exercise. So you want to find the biggest creators in your niche, the people who are doing the best, who are selling something similar to you. Use the website Viral Finder, right? You can basically search their username to find their best performing videos, and you can sort it by views, engagement, whatever you want. I think views is best. Understand why those videos performed well. So this is the thing about organic as well. You need to develop your awareness. You need to understand and become aware of like why something's done well. Because if you don't do that, what's going to happen is you're going to be posting all these videos, right? One does really well, and then you're just like, oh wow, I got lucky, right? And then you just start going off how you feel again. However, what you should be doing is, is capitalizing on this, right? This is what Cody, my client, did. He just kind of, one of his videos popped off, and then what he did was he just kept using the same variables in the same format to just keep riding that wave. So that's how he went from 2K to 50K in such a short space of time, is because he found something that his market really resonated with, and then he just basically just kept doubling down on that to really get people through the door and to build his audience. So now he has this big audience that he can effortlessly sell to on stories and reels. But you have to know, you have to be aware and see when a video actually does well. You need to have the awareness of knowing why it done well, so that then you can keep doing that. And then you want to recreate these videos with the winning variables and just change the wording and the info so that it's actually relevant to your audience, and you're not just copying them word for word. So that's a good place to start, is doing your competitor research, seeing what other people are doing who are selling something similar to you, and just kind of take a few days to actually figure out how can you outdo these guys. How can you skyscraper them? How can you come in, right, and build a bigger one? That's essentially all you're trying to do. You're trying to make sure that your content is at least better than your competitors in some way or shape or form, or else people are just going to go to the person who's killing it. But you need to be the one who's killing it. The good thing is you can see what's doing well, and that means all you have to do is make your content better, right? You're not just sitting down in front of a blank screen wondering, oh, what I don't know what to make. That's the worst thing you can possibly do, is sit down in front of a blank screen. Start your creative process from scratch with no data whatsoever, and yeah, that's the worst thing you can possibly do. You have to do competitor research. You have to create a good foundation for yourself for content ideas. Loosen up, right? Content isn't about just reading from a textbook like it was in 2010. You can't just come on the platform and educate people like a robot. 2023, 2024, 2025, it's all about the personal brand and people connecting with you. If they can just go and Google something, and that's it, like if you put out a piece of content that they can just go away and Google, that's not a good piece of content, right? Yes, you need to be educating people. Yes, you need to come across as an authority, but you do need to add your own little quirks and personality in there as well, and combine the two so that people actually want to watch you. Because, like, I would say YouTube is more of like a learning platform, whereas Instagram, it's primarily an entertainment platform. That's why the people who are a bit funny, have more of a personality, or are more quirky, tend to do better on Instagram, because they're not just trying to educate people, they're actually having fun and like making content that's entertaining as well. So you need to loosen up, just let your personality flow, and also combine that with the authority building stuff and educating people. But there's different kinds of content, really. Value, connection, social proof, motivational, and then like limiting beliefs. So value, right, is just about providing as much value as possible. So checklists, tutorials, what to do, not what not to do, stuff like that. Just giving people little tricks and insights, right? Savable content that they'd want to come back to later, things like that. Connection content is less about fitness, really. Connection content is more just about you opening up to your audience and letting them in, letting them relate to your struggles and what you've got going on in your life, right? This is what makes you more human instead of just a textbook. Okay, so you need connection content as well. Social proof is obviously you just showing off results, showing people why your program is effective. Very important. You want to be posting as much social proof as possible, whether it's just on your stories or it's in a reel. You might want to combine these two, right? Have your hook, then show some social proof, then go into the value. Okay, so as much social proof as possible, put it into your marketing. Motivational. This is more like a sit down talking to the audience, trying to light a fire under their ass, or maybe almost like a Big Brother vibe, right? You just tell them to get their shit together. You know, why aren't they? You know they want this and they're not doing it. You know, this is good for like showing leadership and authority and lighting a fire under their ass, right? Because ultimately that's kind of what a coach is a leader. They want to be led by someone who's going to take them from A to B. So if you're not coming across as a leader and authority, that will hurt your brand, because ultimately, you know, at the core, that's what a coach is. Someone who's going to whip their ass into shape and get them to their goal. Limiting beliefs and objections, right? You obviously should have a list of limiting beliefs and objections. If you don't, you can simply go on ChatGPT, you know, get some ideas. You know, I am basically put in your offer statement, right? I am an online fitness coach. I help this kind of person get this result in this amount of time. Can you give me 10 limiting beliefs and objections that would stop someone from taking action and joining my program? And then what you're just going to do is pick one out and eliminate it, right? Like if they say they don't have time, then make a reel about why that's bullshit. Yeah, so this all together is going to contribute to people wanting to then become clients, right? Because you're basically just brainwashing them from all these angles, which is going to help them more likely want to become a client, right? But yeah, so you need to find the sweet spot, have enough variety in your content, and make sure that you're actually being an authority. You're educating them. You're also letting them in so they know, like, and trust you. They connect with you. You're showing them how effective your program is. You're motivating them to take action. And you're eliminating the limiting beliefs and objections before you get to the sales call. So it's easier for you, and your close rate is going to be higher. One thing to note is, you know, this is why I recommend doing the competitor research, is because if you try and reinvent the wheel too much, you'll just end up struggling, and you won't hit the topics and the variables that the algorithm and the market actually want to generate you a lot of views. So you want to ride the wave of what's already working in the market, and then use that as the base for your content. And the secret weapon that I kind of went on about before, that 99% of online coaches I see in the market aren't using, is long form content. So kind of like what I said before, if people are watching 30-minute YouTube videos of you, teaching them about certain topics, or even just like day in the lives and stuff, they're going to connect with you much faster than if they were just watching reels. And they're going to be educated by you much faster. So you're targeting like the emotional part of the brain and the logical part of the brain. The logical part of the brain needs connection. The logical part of the brain needs information. The emotional part of the brain needs that feeling that it's right. They need to know you more. They need to trust you more. So if you're hitting both the logical and the emotional sides, right? Again, that's going to take people to the point of becoming a client much faster. And if they're watching you for like 30 minutes at a time on YouTube, all this is going to happen much, much faster than if they were just watching reels. And when it comes to short form, these are the main things that you want to be focusing on. Number one, video topic. That's obviously the number one, because if your video topic is garbage, then it doesn't matter how good your hook is. It doesn't matter how entertaining you are on camera. people just aren't really going to care enough to want to watch it or to want to comment. So video topic has to be something valuable to them. It needs to be a controversial take, you know, that spikes engagement, something like that. But you need to make sure you're doing your competitor research and you're actually using the video topics that are actually doing well in the market, right? Obviously, that's relevant to your niche. That goes without saying. Number 2 is the hook. So the hook is, let's say this is the video. The hook is literally just like this, right? It's the first maybe 3 seconds, right? The hook is the first 3 seconds of the video. So how can you make a good hook? Well, what you say, the words you use hooks the audience in. You might have a text on the screen, right, that hooks the audience in. You might be in a weird environment, or you might have a prop, something that hooks them in. You might be doing some sort of movement. But basically, all these things, what you say, what they see, is contributing to them actually wanting to watch the video. And you're basically just trying to stop them from scrolling, right? So, and a good verbal hook is basically you just telling them why they should watch to the end of the video. It's like, you know, it's like a little a mini promise in a way, right? Whereas if you just don't really say much, their perceived value of the video is going to be too low for them to want to keep watching. So they'll just keep scrolling, right? People have too much choice when it comes to social media about what they want to watch. So they will literally just doom scroll until they find a video that feels right. And you really need to win them over in the first 3 seconds. Energy and tonality on camera is really important as well. Like if you're just inherently boring to watch, that's not going to help. So you want to make sure that your energy and tonality on camera is good. If you're not naturally the kind of person who's like good in front of a camera, then it's a skill, right? It goes back to what I was saying about sales skills and stuff. Literally, your ability to talk on camera is a skill that you need to develop over time. And the more repetition you do, the more comfortable you're going to get, and the more confident you're going to be at delivering information on camera and in your reels. And then obviously frequency as well. So even just for the sake of like skill development, but mainly to do with like how much attention that you're getting from people. You know, if they're only seeing you twice a week on the camera versus like 7 to 10 times, the person who's in front of them 7 to 10 times, their videos might not even be that good quality, but they're probably going to be more likely to convert people into clients. So just to sort of summarize that up, find 100 top performing videos in your niche, right, that you can recreate. Recreate them using the winning variables, but add your own little style and voice to it. Make sure you change up the information a bit as well, but keep the video topic the same. You want to be uploading at least 1 YouTube video per week that you can promote on your stories. You know, it could be a day in the life, or it could be more like a lesson, kind of like what I'm doing here, or like a PowerPoint presentation, something of value where they would want to actually watch to the end of the video, right? Day in the life is good because it allows them to connect with you more, and they get curious about what you're doing and stuff. But yeah, there's different ways you can go down there. I would recommend doing your competitor research on YouTube as well. So number 6, right? Monetizing. So like lead gen. So the first step of lead gen is obviously messaging all your new followers, right? That's probably the most effective lead generation tactic is just to be proactive about it, right? Just actually get in the DMs with people, message as many people as possible. But in terms of more structured lead gen tactics, the number one thing is to make it repeatable and predictable. You don't want to just wake up one day and think, I'm gonna do a promotion today. No, you want to make it more predictable than that. But your only job at any given time is to initiate the next conversion in the funnel. So whether that's to get them to follow you, or to get them into the DMs, or to close them into a client, all these little steps, right? At any given moment, your job is just to get them to the next one. So that's why on like reels and stuff, that's why you're not talking about, you're not really selling your program directly on a reel, because it's too far, there's too much of a gap in between in those points, right? It's, you know, you're just trying to get people to follow you. Or if it's a story, you're just trying to get them to send you a DM, you know? So you're making all these mini offers, right? To get people to the next section. So macro and micro thinking. So you kind of want to look at lead gen on a bigger scale. You know, you want to capitalize on areas like seasonal promotions, obviously like New Year, Christmas, summer, you know, get in shape for summer. These are all the sort of promotions on a macro level that are going to happen every single year. They're not going to change. They're always going to happen roughly the same time. So these are the stuff you can plan, like you can sit down and plan these promotions like a year in advance if you really want to. Then you'll have the more kind of smaller ones. So you might have like flash sales, or like 72-hour ones. Like these macro ones, they'll probably be like 14 to 21 days long. The flash sales for like, I don't know, Father's Day or something, they'll be shorter, maybe like, you know, less than 72 hours. But yeah, so when it comes to promos, obviously you've got seasonal, you've got other sort of justifications as well, like price increase, or you're launching a new product. But to be honest, you can do different launches throughout the year. Keep your program on the back end the same. However, just change the way you market the program to make it sound like a new thing, a new opportunity, right? So if it's a new product, different launch, a valuable resource, you might just want to promote a lead magnet of some sort to get, you know, conversations and stuff. Re-offers, what a re-offer is basically, so when you start to get a lot of followers and conversations and stuff, at the end of each month, you will have a lot of people who didn't close on calls, or who you weren't able to get onto a call. And what a re-offer is just coming back into the conversation with an incentive, like, hey man, just to celebrate us doing a record month, we've decided to give back. So anyone who joins in the next 24 hours will get this, this, and this. You know, that could just be like a bonus or a discount, something like that. Basically, people who are on the fence, who just need that little extra push, it's like an opportunity that you're giving them, usually on like a once a month basis, just to sort of scoop up those people who just need that little extra push. So yeah, that's kind of all that is. So that's a re-offer. An authentic justification is basically just, you always want to have an authentic justification for any promo. So these are examples here. So it's a seasonal thing. You're doing a price increase. You know, if you're just running a promotion for no particular reason, it just doesn't make sense. So that's why you want to have an authentic justification for every promotion that you run. And value propositions, so bonuses, discounts, limited spaces, one-time opportunities. All these things are just going to increase urgency, you know, for people to want to take action. So summary, plan your marketing campaigns for the whole year, right? Really just dial in the dates of significance, seasons, holidays, any reason that people might want to receive a little discount or an opportunity, right? Take advantage of it. And obviously message every new follower to book calls. It's really that simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it. You just have to have set repeatable things in place that can generate you more leads than usual, and just be proactive and actually talk to people. So sales, to be honest, I have a video that really goes into the sales process on a much deeper level. So I'm not going into sales too much, but here's kind of everything that you need to know. So infrastructure checklist. So that means, you've got everything set up to actually take the calls, Calendly, Zoom Pro, all this good stuff. Sales presentation perhaps. Pre-call checklist, so nice quiet place. You want to be in a good frame of mind before calls. So if something's pissed you off or you're stressed, I would recommend going for a walk, clearing your head, coming back to the call in a fresh state of mind, because these things can affect they can affect your patience on calls and how you respond to things. So you always want to come in a good, fresh state of mind. So for me, I always have a notepad next to me, and all you want to write on the notepad is, let's see, pains, desires, and time. So basically, when you're on the call, you're basically just trying to do something very simple, which is understand where they are right now, understand where it is they're trying to get to, and all you're trying to do is understand these two things. Then, as a closer, you're just trying to bridge this gap for them with your service. Okay, so you're just trying to figure out what this gap actually is for them, so that when you tell them about your program, you can link it back to the things that they've told you, right? If you start rambling on about shit that they don't care about, you will lose them, right? You've got to make sure that you understand where they are now, where they want to be, why they're not there, what the roadblocks are, basically what the gap is, so that then you can pitch your service and only talk about the things that they've told you. So it's super relevant, and it feels like the perfect opportunity for them. So on the notepad, right, you'll be writing down what all their pains are, what they've been struggling with, what it is they want, why they want it, why they have that goal, what is the goal, how long have they been dealing with this, like how long have they been trying to get to their goal, right? This is super leveraged, because if they say 2 years, right, well, like, dude, you've been experiencing this for 2 years, it's kind of, it's time to make a change, like, do you want to go another 2 years feeling like this and just completely waste your potential and not reach your goals? Like, you have to take leadership and if they've clearly defined what they want and what they're struggling with, and they're just failing to do anything about it, then you have to be the leader and guide them to want to join your program. You have to talk them through it, why if they don't make this change now, they're going to just keep struggling with this, for another 2 years. So you understanding how long they've been dealing with it is a lot of leverage when it comes to sales. Sales presentation rundown. Can show you an example. So this is a client here. So very, very simple. I'll not waste too much time here, but the offer statement is here. You would have some client success stories here, like social proof. A little bit of background about yourself. This is like a ethical comparison. So this is basically just positioning. So here's what you do, right? And why this is the best solution. And here's what everyone else does in the market. Here's what your competitors do. Here's fad diets, you know. Basically everything that you don't do, you're just trying to make your solution look like the best, right? So as an example here, why most women don't get the results that they desire. This is like a health coaching offer. So, you know, short-term fixes, one size fits all, limited support, system management. Then basically our solution is just one by one going through each thing and telling them how you've basically eliminated all of these problems, right? So it's just positioning. Roadmap, this creates clarity and reassurance about the next steps. You know, clarity creates action. So if people are more uncertain about what's going to happen, they're going to be less likely to want to take action. And these are like the different phases of the program. What you'll receive, so the deliverables. So this is where you just stack as much value as possible. So roadmap, health call, goal setting, weekly check-ins, community, group calls, fitness plan, nutrition plan, extra things that are relevant to the niche. You know, simple software like an app, video guides, meal library, yeah. And then obviously down here is the investment options. So with the investment options, you always want to know what the best package is that you're selling, and then manipulate, like present everything in a way that points to that being the best option, the best deal. So 3 months for 3K or 6 months for 5K. So obviously if you've got the money and you're really serious about this, you know, you're going to save that $1,000 and go for the 6 month option. So that's kind of how you close a deal, right? You run through everything one by one, always making sure that you're getting small micro commitments along the way. You know, do you understand? Do you have any questions? Can you see why this would help you? Yes, 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 yes. Getting all these micro commitments. And then when you get to the end, I always like to go with, you know, one simple question, which is, so based on everything I've told you, you know, the roadmap, this, and this, you know, based on what they've told you, right? You're relating what you're saying back to what they've said. So based on this, and this, you know, how would you rate the process on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being you would do anything to get off this call right now, and 10 being, you know, you think this would really help you get to your goal. Where's your head at right now? Just so I can see where you're at. And this is your opportunity to basically get some objections before you drop the price. So if they say an 8, you know, you would just say, cool, man. So what would make it a 10? Like where's the drop of 2 points come from? Then they'll give you the objection, and then you just handle the objection, okay? And then you don't move on to the price until they say a 10, because when you get them to a 10, that basically means the only thing that could go wrong now is that it's too expensive. So that means you've isolated all these possible objections just to like one main thing, right? So people love to get in their own way when things get uncomfortable. So you're just trying to pre-handle these objections as much as possible, because the sales call is pretty chill, right? You're just having a conversation, you're showing how everything works. The uncomfortable part is when you drop the price. Now they're under pressure, so you want to eliminate as much of that pressure as possible. So if you have established they need this, then you've got to guide them respectfully to the right decision, or they will just keep getting in their own way and not actually taking action on this. So you want to isolate the objection. So if they do object, right, to money, you always want to circle back around to making sure that the program's not the issue, right? So isolating this objection. So you want to say, so if it was money, you would just say something like, money aside, if you had all the money in the world, do you think this program would be a good move forward for you? And would you be joining today? And if they say yes, then that means it literally is just a money thing. Then you can start handling that. So if they want to speak to their spouse or something, you always want to take a deposit or reschedule a call. Like you always need to keep people on the hook somehow. So either a deposit or a reschedule a call just means that you're keeping them close. They're not just gonna ghost you forever. But yeah, and with price, like say if you're selling like a 2K package, you can present them with this. Oh, it's 2K. But you just need to know in your head, like, what's the lowest amount of money you'd be willing to take someone on for? Because then that means your most lenient price, let's just say it's 500. 500 is the lowest you would go to take someone on. Any less and it's not really waste your time. So that means that this is the most lenient payment plan that you can offer them. So before making this custom offer to them, right? Because if you just keep making offers and they keep saying no, you're just losing all leverage there. You don't have anything to work with. You want to maintain your frame. You need to work out what they're willing to invest before you're able to make them a plan. Because if they say, "Oh, I could invest 500 today in myself," so now they've admitted that. So now when you say, "Okay, man, so if I was able to help you out today and sort of create you like a custom payment plan that works for you, would you be willing to hear me out?" And they say yes. Then you can offer this, right? 9 times out of 10, if you do it that way, right, figure out what they're able to invest first, then go into the custom payment plan. 9 times out of 10, they'll be willing to go ahead with it. So that's just something to note there. But as I said, I do have a much longer video that covers the entire sales process. So I'm not going to go into it too much. But in terms of actually getting people through the door, I know I've not gone into too much detail, but that's kind of all you need to know. Like, obviously you need to make sure that you're offering your niches down. Obviously this is massively summarized, and there's a lot of nuances that go like along with all of this, right? Like the specific words you're using with people, specific content techniques, how to actually qualify people, exact sales scripts and all this sort of stuff. But this is like the high level overview, right? You need to have your conversion mechanisms in place, your funnel, VSL. You need to be consistently uploading content that hits well with your market, generating new followers. You need to have an appointment setting process. You need to have a sales process, right? You need to be closing clients. If we just go back to this quickly, whoops. Like when you have this in motion, there's different elements that you can improve, right? So the amount of views you're getting per profile visit and per follower. So the amount of views you're getting to the amount of new followers you're getting, right? These are conversion rates. Okay. The amount of calls you're closing, that's something you can improve over time. The amount of people who are showing up to the call, right? Things can be done to improve that. The amount of people who are opening your messages. All of these things, right? All these different little conversion events that all come down to a percentage based on the previous conversion event, right? All these little things can be optimized over time. which all contributes to the amount of overall money that you're making across the month. You know, if you just try and like improvise and wing all this stuff without using a proven process, don't expect any, you know, crazy magic results. You know, this is just kind of the high level overview. But number 8 and number 9, you know, leveraged fulfillment, right? You don't want to get bogged down. And if you're used to being a one-to-one PT, you are used to giving your clients a lot of time. But the reality is you don't actually need to. But basically you just want to systemize stuff as much as possible. So you need like a solid onboarding process, right? A kickoff call. You need to deliver their plans. And you need accountability mechanisms. And you need to consistently be pulling social proof from the clients who are doing well, so that you can use it back in the marketing and generate more leads. So if you're new, right, the first thing that you need to do is obviously establish your niche and your offer, and then you need to build an MVP. An MVP is basically just the minimum viable product that you need to actually get going. Because something I see time and time again is people, before they've even started, they're trying to make the perfect product and the perfect service before they've even taken feedback from the market. That's just not the right way to do it. Sell first, build after. Always. Just get to the point where you can actually, you know, deliver a plan and check-ins to someone, and then gather feedback from there to build your product, right? Use feedback to build the product. Don't try and make the perfect product just using how you feel and what you think is going to do well, because you'll make less money, you'll waste time, and yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Get feedback. Don't forget to track clients and acquire social proof. So you want some sort of spreadsheet for tracking new clients, what program they're on. You can also do various other things like a traffic light system to prioritize clients who need more help. Different things like that. You can write their notes, like their goals and things, when their check-in calls are due, everything like that. I mean, I could just show you. Client tracker. Here we go. So client name, the program that they're on, when they started, when their payments are due, what kind was it, like a pay in full or a 3-pay, initial payment, progress. So this is like, you might have a check-in question that has 3 options, which gives you an indication of if they're doing well, if they need a bit of help, or if they're in a dire situation and you need to intervene. Green, amber, or red. And it just means the people who are on green just need a little bit of encouragement to keep them going. And the people on red, okay, you need to schedule calls with these guys and you reset their mind. Have they gotten results yet? And if they have, and you've not collected social proof from them, this is your little sort of reminder to make sure that you're trying to get some sort of social proof from them. Whether it be a video testimonial, before and after pics, client interview, anything like this is great. The good thing about seeing the high level overview like this as well is you can like have their goals here. So their goals that they said to you on the sales call or on the kickoff call, even like 3 or 4 months in, you'll be reminded of what it is they're actually trying to achieve. You know, because when you've got like 50 clients, things can get a bit foggy. So it's good to have this just to remind yourself about what's going to motivate this person. Obviously, medical conditions and injuries, that's important, because you might be 3 months in, you might be tweaking their program and you forget something, right? Which is not good. So you can use this to make sure that you always have a finger on the pulse of their requirements, right? And then you can have little reminders here for like review calls and stuff. So that's just an example there of how to like track client progress. And number 9, scaling. So when you've got all this big machine running fluidly, you know, YouTube videos constantly, uploading reels constantly, you're gaining lots of followers, you're putting out stories, you're generating new conversations, you're closing deals. You might want to automate this, delegate it, right? So that it gives you more time to then scale further. So obviously there's kind of three main ways here. So do more, that's basically just post more content, send more messages, right? That's one way of scaling. Hiring. So in order to actually allow you to do more, you'll eventually need to outsource tasks that run your business. So might be an appointment setter. So let's say it gets to the point where you've got 50k followers, the DMs are getting out of control, it's taking up all your time, it's taken away your focus from like content and YouTube videos and reels and stuff. You'll probably want to hire someone to just be constantly in your DMs, messaging new followers, replying to inbound leads, and then booking calls. So that means your calendar's full without actually having to deal with any of the messages. So you would usually hire an appointment setter first, then you would probably hire a coach, to be honest. Because when you start to get a lot of clients on the back end, it's going to start to get a bit, the back ends will start to get a little bit messy. You'll have a lot of people asking you questions. This is why I said about the operational drag thing. Like if you're dealing with so many different kinds of people, it's going to get very messy very quickly on the back end. However, if you really dial in the niche and stick to one person with one kind of problem, one outcome, you'll be able to systemize how you're dealing with problems much easier on the back end. But by hiring a coach, this is another thing with like high ticket as well. Like if you're charging high ticket prices, you've got the luxury to hire a coach, right? And just charge them like X amount of money per month, and then you just keep the profits. And then you can completely hand the clients over to this client. They can do the onboarding, they can do the check-ins, they can do the program, and you're just profiting from each client that you hand off to the coach. Like it's really scalable, and then that means you can drive a lot more traffic into the offer because you've got this coach who you can hand off clients to. And then if you really didn't like sales, you could hire a closer, and then obviously an editor as well. But you probably would have hired an editor before these things. Tip for hiring: hire slow, fire fast. So when you're hiring people, you always want to take your time. You always want to, and also you always want to start off the people close to you, right? So like family and friends, okay? If you know a friend who's is as passionate as you about this, who's a good coach, obviously that's a good place to start. Out with that, then you've got people in your program, right? Clients. Or friends of friends. So clients are like friends of friends, so you've got a good reference from. Then your audience, right? People who are bought into your mission. People who are bought into your mission already. And then after that, that's when you'd go to like job search websites. But I would always prioritize these things first. So like someone who's a great client who's done well in your program, they'd obviously be a good coach because they've gone through the process, they understand your methodology, they understand you as a coach, and they would be able to deliver a good service to other clients. So that's kind of the hire and hierarchy. But yeah, you always want to hire slow. So like a solid application process, a solid interview process, take your time, send out the application to your audience, to clients, whoever. Make sure you get quite a lot of few people, break it down into the people who you think would be most suitable to then get them onto an interview, and just take your time with it. Like really try and think about the green flags and red flags of who you'd want to work with, someone who aligns with the brand. It's almost like when you're hiring, it's almost similar to like clients coming on board. Like you would want to take them through a good onboarding process, give them good training, because the more clear they are about what they need to do, the better they're going to do at the job, and they're going to be more likely to get results, aka get your clients results. So and when it comes to firing people, like if you have that gut feeling that they're just not doing what they're meant to be doing and they're not very good, don't just keep giving them more chances. Just get rid of them ASAP. Because when you actually get someone on board who's good at what they do, you know about it straight away. And you know straight away if they have potential. So that's all I've got to say about hiring. Again, guys, if you want me to go more in depth about any of this, this is obviously very high level. But if you want me to go into depth about any of this, just leave me a comment and I'll make a bigger video going into it all. But ads, so ads will basically just amplify what's already working. So if you're wondering why I'm wasting a ton of money on ads, then it's probably too soon to be doing ads. That's the thing I don't like about ads, is like all these business coaches who like will try and convince you that their ad system is the best and ads is the only way. There's a lot of testing and optimizing that goes into ads, and you need a solid foundation before you do it. And you can very, very easily lose thousands of dollars trying to test ads, right? And it's quite easy to just give up and feel a bit discouraged. So you really ideally need to have like 5K saved, and just have the mindset that like you're just going to spend that no matter what to get the ads working. Because if you expect just to turn ads on and then to be profitable straight away, is just, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it really is just like too good to be true most of the time. So yeah, ads will just amplify what's already working in your business, so you need to be in a good spot. However, when you do crack them, you can reach a lot of people, get them into your funnel, and it really can just, 2, 3, 4, 5x your business in a very short space of time. Different examples of ads is like, follower ads, DM ads, book a call ads. Those are the most common ones. But yeah, that's kind of it for this video, guys. As always, if you want to see if we'd be a good fit to work together, feel free to book a call, right, and get your custom roadmap just in the link below. And yeah, I'll see you next time.